it's just been totally like, you just take it one day at a time. It's been change after change after change after change. Literally, I mean, for the last year, And so I'm excited about 2025 and what it holds. I'm excited to feel like we have capacity to dream individually, but also dream together and create together and really follow what we feel like we want to do and also what the Lord has asked us to do. So,
welcome to the Grace for the Growth podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Leo. The goal of this podcast is to encourage you on your own growth journey by empowering you to live your life with authenticity, freedom, and confidence. We will get real and raw as we dive into honest conversations about life, faith, business, relationships, dating, healing, and so much more. My goal is that you would walk away from our time together feeling a little less alone, a little less crazy, and a little more brave to be yourself. I hope you will find yourself more compassionate to past you, challenged as present you, and excited for future you. Embrace the story, welcome the messy of it all, sit in the unknown, and most importantly, live authentically. So pull up a chair in my virtual living room and let's dive into today's conversation.
hello, everybody. Welcome back to Grace for the Growth. I'm Courtney Alexander.
I'm Nicholas Leo.
Wow.
No,
we didn't swap names, but hi, everybody. So excited to see you guys, and welcome to what will continue to be an ever-evolving podcast studio. So, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, we have had quite the conundrum because we have been trying to set up a space in our new home. We have to catch you up on a lot of things, first of all, but we need to set up our new space in our home that has like podcast equipment. However, we're not used to living together and always podcasting together. So we kind of have a very janky setup. Don't know if you could tell, but like behind like what you can't see, it's like a whole different world. And so we just want to invite you on this game over the next couple episodes of what continues to evolve and change in our podcast setup, because that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, it's not just about the podcast setup, figuring it out. It's about the life setup.
Yeah.
Because, we can talk through it. But rearranged our bedroom a few times, my office a few times, your office a few times.
Yeah.
Our living room is still packed full of stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about where we're at and what we're getting into today. So here's the situation. What we want to do in this episode is we want to do kind of like a family meeting. You know, we like to say that take a seat in our virtual living room. And so we kind of want to do like a family meeting, kind of a state of the union, like where are we at as we start 2025 and what you can expect from us over the next couple months, what to expect from our story, from content, because we're going to make a little pivot here in a little bit. So we want to kind of have a family meeting and just give you just insight as to where we've come from, where we're at, what to expect from us, and all of that. And then, just have some fun. So glad you're here. Glad you're listening in. This will just be like a catch-all episode, I guess.
We're basically here just to talk.
We're here just to talk.
We are going to have some expounding. So this is what the Lord's been speaking to me today.
Yeah, this is like the link. Like, consider it like the link, like the connection episode between where the heck have y'all been for the last 5 months and where are we going. So I will say we have all of our podcast recordings and episodes on a calendar, which in Courtney world, if it's on the calendar, it's going to happen. So I want you to know, like, it's happening.
In Nick world, where's the calendar?
Exactly. So here's where we're at. So last we left you on a real big cliffhanger. We were talking through our story, and we got to the place where we were dating, and how did we know, and walking into engagement season. And so we have some really fun stuff to share with you about engagement season, or about our actual engagement, the story of our engagement, which is wonderful and will be so fun to reflect on. and then also our engagement season and moving. If you've watched the last couple episodes, what was happening in real time while we were recording past time was that we were moving twice. And so moving there, and then honestly, so much of our engagement season of making really big decisions together, of learning to merge our lives together, learning to make really big life choices about jobs and where we're going to live and like all that stuff. That was so much of our engagement season. Oh, and planning a wedding on top of it and everything that comes into play with that. And then the wedding, which is, we haven't really talked about it very much publicly.
As I said, we've talked a lot.
We've talked a lot about it, but it was such a special day, and so many people have asked about, can you tell us about your wedding, show us stuff, and so we have some very special ideas about sharing that with you guys. So that's kind of where we're headed, and then from there, once we kind of get into like the wedding and what happened, we're going to then pivot a little bit, where we're going to come back to some more core Grace for the Growth content. I'm going to be recording some more stuff, got some guests coming, really want to kind of embrace this message, really the heart of Grace for the Growth, of what does it look like to have compassion and empathy for yourself, for your story, for what you're navigating in. Nick's going to be in a lot of the episodes, but he won't be a consistent guest. He's been a part of this series of our story for obvious reasons, but we want to get back to, I wanted a place for our story to be shared in long form content. And as we have the podcast, it's a great place for it to be. But we've talked, and we really want Grace for the Growth to return to not just being the Courtney and Nick show and our story, but actually what God is saying through this message, what he's doing, not just in the lives, not just in our lives, but what is he also doing in community and the lives of other people. So like, I'm excited to get back into recording some solo episodes, having some of my friends on, some guests, and really continuing to encourage and empower you in your story, in your growth journey. And so that's where we're headed as far as Grace for the Growth. So we're going to continue kind of in like a half season, a half series, as we wrap this up, because we don't want to leave you on a cliffhanger, but we're committed to wrapping that up, and then we'll kind of go into the launch of Grace for the Growth. But that all being said, Nick and I may have some surprises up our sleeve about more Nick and Courtney content, so stay tuned. You never know what will happen. We might just have a little too much fun recording together after we get our drinks set up.
I was about to say, if we have to set it up like this every time, we set up for an hour and a half.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
Worth it.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the recap of where we're going. Or I guess the summary of where we're going, what the plan is, all of that. And so, Nick, what has happened in our lives since like August, September? Give like the fast version. You know me, I'm going to give like, I mean, maybe not like fast, but like I'm going to like give every single detail, and I don't need to, but like update our friends, like what has the last 4 or 5 months been like?
Yeah. So that was the end of engagement season. So we got married in November.
Yeah.
So before then, the end of September, end of August, I expressed to you, so I was in full-time ministry, and I had expressed, and you had moved closer to me. And I'd expressed to you that I really felt like the Lord was releasing me from that. And you then asked me, okay, what's the timeline? What does that look like? You know, calendar girl wants to know whenever we're going to be done. And I said, I don't know. And you did tell me, you gave me good boundaries about, well, I would like, if it's going to be before the wedding, I would like at least this amount of buffer time. If not, then can we wait to move? Because we didn't want to be moving a week before a wedding and have all that stress and trying to find a home and stuff like that.
We knew that you resigning your job was going to lead to us moving.
Yes, because the resignation of me from my job wasn't because I was unhappy. It was actually because I felt like the Lord was releasing me from that particular place and opening a door for us to come somewhere new, which is our current location, to reconnect with family on both of our sides. You being closer to some of yours, and me reconnecting to some of mine and mending relationships that took hits in my lifetime, I should say. And I think personally, we've already seen God's reason for bringing us back.
Yeah.
Just in my family alone, but we're seeing it in yours as well. And I think it's wonderful. Not that anything is like, but I mean, we're able to be there for our people. Yeah. And we're able to be a safe haven. And so it wasn't that I was like, I'm done with this and I don't want to do it anymore. I remember we were driving home one day and I cried on the way home and I said, I just missed this person, and I hadn't said that before. And so we made that determination that the Lord released us from that ministry. And because we had planned to be there for a couple more years. And then we moved to the current city that we live in, and I didn't have a job. And, I do audiovisual work / different random things. So we knew I could contract and we knew I could make some money, but we didn't have anything like specific in place. So made that decision, and we ended up making the decision to leave Georgia like 6 weeks before the wedding. And stepping down from that position early rather than late. And then from there, we found a home to begin moving stuff into prior to the wedding and getting things worked out. So our merging of our lives began sooner than we realized, in the sense of just signing a lease together and getting random insurance things figured out, and all of that jazz before we were officially married and together and doing all those things. So we did that. And then, of course, on top of that, there's lots of wedding planning. I mean, 6 weeks out from a wedding. Yeah. Lots of things to do. And then the 30-day mark, lots of got to pay the rest of this person and pay the rest of this. And oh my gosh, we've got to have a rehearsal dinner. Where's that going to be?
What was nice, though, was that, we booked our wedding venues back in the spring of 2024, and we booked it in a city that was kind of in between your city in Georgia and my city in Tennessee, East Tennessee. And we had booked it in this city that was kind of a midway point and also a place where we had a lot of community. And it ended up being the city that we ended up moving to. So I get to spend the last 6 weeks, not in East Tennessee, not in Georgia, but actually 10 minutes from our wedding venue. So that was kind of fun. And when we booked that venue, we had no idea that we would be back in Tennessee at that point. And so it's definitely been like a whirlwind of a fall, I think, with, and part of, I don't know if we've shared all these details, but part of my move from Tennessee to Georgia, the first move in July, was that my contract was ending with the job that I was currently at, and I was jumping into full-time self-employment and entrepreneurship. So we had already made that jump once together, and then here we were in October doing it again. I remember telling my friends, when I made this decision, I did not think we were doing this twice in 1 year, and I did not think we were moving twice in 1 year. I moved twice.
Much less only within 4 months.
Yeah. So to move states back and forth in twice in a couple months, 3 or 4 months, for both of us to go through some major career and life decisions, jumping into self-employment and figuring all of that out, while also prepping to get married and all of that goes into it, not just the wedding planning, but also prepping for marriage and those conversations and
premarital counseling,
all of it, so much. Figuring out our norms, our routines, still trying to figure that out. It's just, it has been good, but it's been a lot with not as much bandwidth. And the good news is that we got married in November. We went on our honeymoon and we got right back, and then we went into Thanksgiving.
Holiday season. And that's what I was about to say. So we get up to the wedding, we had craziness before the wedding, and we get up to the wedding, and then it's we have an amazing wedding. Amazing.
Gorgeous.
It truly felt perfect to me.
Yeah.
And then from there we go on, I don't know, a week-long honeymoon. Took a cruise, first cruise ever.
Not mine. I'm cruise pro.
Yeah. My first cruise ever.
We're glad you liked it, though.
And that was wonderful. Had a great time.
Yeah.
And then from there, the next week we had Thanksgiving. So then we drove to my extended family, which is 6 hours away from where we had just moved to.
Yeah.
So I remember us flying in from the honeymoon, getting back to our new home, married.
Yeah.
Yay, we're finally together. We're all
in a new city.
Okay, wash your clothes, put them back in the bag, and we're driving 6 hours to my family because we opted to do Thanksgiving with my family, and then spent several days there with my extended family, and then drove back, and then had, I don't know, a few weeks.
Well, it's like the shortest Christmas season ever.
Yeah,
because Thanksgiving was so late.
At that point, did we decorate for Christmas then?
Or we decorated for Christmas before our wedding.
Yeah, because we knew we wouldn't have time.
Yeah.
So literally, right before the wedding, we're decorating the house for Christmas because my wife is obsessed with Christmas and was like, I want to come home for Christmas. And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I was like, I want to get back from my wedding and like
not have to decorate.
Else decorate for Christmas.
Yes. So I remember we came back and I remember you saying like, Christmas is almost over. And I'm like, it's not even here yet. And we're like, I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So then, we had a few weeks of, it wasn't normal.
I was going to say, I don't really even remember much of December.
I don't either. I remember
we had a lot of birthdays.
My birthday's in December.
My sister's
You've got family birthday in December. So we had a few dinners and things like that. Yeah. And then I felt like Christmas was right up on us and we went to your family's house for like 5 days.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. But we slept on a mattress and a floor in an office. Yeah. So like we go from not being home to, hey, you're kind of home, but it's not really normal. Okay, you're not there anymore.
Sure.
For several weeks there. So 3 weeks out of the first 5 of our marriage or so, we weren't even home.
It's like a whirlwind. Yeah, it's an absolute whirlwind. I feel like then the first week of January, we were recovering from sickness, and then also
we didn't move for 3 days.
We had missed.
And then we got home.
Like, I'm exhausted. It's like it's not just been the last week of Christmas. It's been the last 4 months.
Yeah.
Like it's been wild and insane. And so but here we are at the end of beginning of February.
Beginning of February with lots of prospects in front of us and lots of hopes and dreams.
So many new beginnings.
I do feel refreshed.
Yeah, I definitely feel like more normal for the first time. I mean, we are definitely figuring out our new normal, and we'll talk more about that. But like, I feel like there's been just like an element of balancing being present in the last couple months, but also trying to get through and like do what needs to happen and be kind to ourselves and good for each other and invest in good foundations for us and have the hard conversations and so many different things. And so it's been a good launch, a good start. But I definitely have not felt very like normal pace of life in a long time. Not that anything in the last 4 months has been bad. It's just been totally like, you just take it one day at a time. It's been change after change after change after change. Literally, I mean, for the last year. And so I'm excited about 2025 and what it holds. I'm excited to feel like we have capacity to dream individually, but also dream together and create together and really follow what we feel like we want to do and also what the Lord has asked us to do. So I'm really excited for this season and I'm excited to keep chatting. I'm excited for podcast content to, finish the story. I get messages all the time. People will be like, when's the engagement story coming? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, life just lifed. And
which stinks because the engagement story is a good story.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, as we were talking, I was like, do we just kind of, let's just put a pin in it and like, let's just start over. And we just talked about it. It was like, no, we need to like, not finish, but like get through the fun, awesome stories. Cause I think both our engagement story a lot of what we learned in our engagement season and then also our wedding, I think is a really important story to tell. And I think really honors the Lord in how it's not just a fun story to tell, but also it's just really, really special. And I want it to be an encouragement to other people that you don't have to settle for less, and you don't have to do what everyone says just because what everyone says. Like, you really get to chart your own path, like in your engagement story, in your engagement season, and in your wedding. Like, you get to do what the two of you want to do together, and you get to focus on what the important things are to focus on and release the rest. And there's a lot of culture and there's a lot of, trends about you should do this and you shouldn't do this for your wedding, and you should do this and shouldn't do this. And I want people not only to have hope by hearing our story as two people who were single for a long time, got married in our 30s, but also to hear that, hey, there's actually a way to make this a really wonderful and special day. We still get messages all the time, not messages, but like we still get comments all the time from our wedding attendees that said it's like one of their favorite weddings that they've been to. And I mean, I feel like I'm biased because obviously it was my wedding, so I feel like it's my favorite wedding I've been to, but I really do think there was something so special about that day, and I want everyone to experience that if they want.
Absolutely. And what's fun, I had lunch with a friend yesterday who attended the wedding.
Yeah.
At one point in my life, he was a very close friend.
Yeah.
And he's still a good friend, but our season of life, we grew apart, and we had lunch yesterday. And I started crying because I was thinking about my groomsmen and like just talking about how great of a group of guys that it was and how impactful they are. I don't know, like I know people say like, oh, I would love to relive that day. Like, I would go back and do it so many times.
Yeah.
And not just because of the attention was on us. Like, that was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was in another world anyways.
Yeah.
Like, my headspace was weird. But the group of people that were there will never be together again.
Yeah.
And that impacted me. Mm-hmm. And it really made a difference. And your group was the same way, but just knowing that it's like a culmination of a lot of work, because friendships are work, and relationships are work, but all of the people that showed up for us in the really personal, with our groom's people, the maid of honor and bridesmaids and all of that, but even the guests that showed, I mean, we had guests that came from all over.
Yeah.
And people that we just didn't expect. They're like, no, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And that friend, I told him, I said, I'm honored that you came to my wedding.
Yeah.
He said, dude, I told my wife when you asked me because I asked him for their address. He said, I looked at my wife and said, I don't care what we're doing. We're moving it. We're going to Nick's wedding.
Yeah.
And so it really was.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I would add to that there's so many things that stand out to me about the day, and I don't want to, do the whole wedding episode right now but I really could talk about it for forever. But we just posted our wedding highlight film on Instagram, so you can go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But they included this in the wedding highlight film. There are a lot of really, really favorite parts that I have about the day. But one thing that really stands out to me that I'll never forget is when we were pronounced husband and wife, like you may now kiss the bride, and then like we kissed, and then we turned and looked at everybody. Mm-hmm. The eruption of cheers and victory, and like it was so, like, can I say it was so holy? Like, it just felt like it was a moment of like, when I think about just like the cheers and the champion, I mean, these are people who have walked with us, who have cried with us in our singleness, who have supported us, who have been there for breakups, who have been there for heartache, who have been there for big life decisions, who have been our community when we didn't have a spouse, like just so many different things. And so there's a lot of things that stand out to me, but one thing I really, really love is being able to, I'm so glad that we captured that got captured. It's just the celebration, the celebration of not just the creation of a new family and a new beginning and the creation of like just celebration of like, hey, now like these two have become one, and see what God's going to do for the next several decades, like see what God's going to do because of this legacy, this new family. But there was also a celebration of look at how good God is. Yeah. And for a lot of our community, like they like for the people who like live near us and all that kind of stuff, they knew us, they had met the other person. But for a lot of our community that if they didn't live close, we were moving so much in 2024 that like we didn't really have time to like go visit people who were far away. And so just to even see like at our wedding, the people who did travel for our wedding, who may not have met the other person, my people hadn't met you yet, your people hadn't met me yet, if they didn't live close, just we didn't have margin to go visit people and introduce each other to everyone. But to even be able to see, like I think about like my friends who like I've walked with them for, 10, 15 years, for them to be like this, like just in tears of like, I just have like my faith just grew so much, even though they got married, years and years ago, right? It's not that we had people there who were still experiencing singleness. We had people who have not really experienced adult singleness ever, but there was just
people who are newly experiencing adult singleness.
Correct. Also,
unfortunately,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there
was a celebration. Yeah. It was a celebration. That's just really, it just stands out to me
for sure. And I think of people, I mean, just getting to meet so many of your people that I hadn't met, so many of your like college, Florida people that, I mean, it's just 8 to 10 hours away from us. And then I also had people from Florida that came up that are 11 hours away.
Yeah.
And I just remember I didn't get to see them until the reception. And I walked up, she's like a mom to me. And I hugged her and we just held each other.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And getting to see you have those experiences with your people. I mean, Anyways, so we can.
It's getting emotional.
I'm happy to get emotional, but we can talk about the wedding day.
Yeah.
We could make that into a series in and of itself.
For sure.
That was special. Yeah, absolutely. So not that we should. I think we could.
Yeah, for sure.
But so we're still not into the normal.
No,
we're getting close.
We're getting close to normal. We're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start a new job.
Yeah.
New career, as it were.
Yeah.
Not in full-time ministry.
No.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
The Lord's okay with that.
Yeah.
We feel the blessing there, so we're excited. You are looking at new prospects of where you want your business to go. And you're looking for clarity, and you've got so much happening there.
Got a couple things up my sleeve.
Absolutely. I think that's great.
Yeah.
So it's not only that it's been crazy and we're coming out of crazy, now we're just, we're entering into a lull. I guess we took the month of January and said, and now we're about to get ready to get up and run again.
Yeah.
And I think it's exciting. I'm excited about my new career prospect.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I'm so excited for it. I didn't meet him, but I saw my new boss yesterday.
Yeah.
And he asked me if I was excited, and I just was like, I know it sounds weird, but I'm stoked. Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I've seen you get jazzed up about some prospects for your avenue of where you want to go or hope to go or might want to go or might not, so.
Well, the Lord told me in March of 2024, like I was, getting really excited about new things and what I want to build. I've had these ideas and all this kind of stuff. And the Lord told me in March 2024, don't build anything in 2024. Like, don't build anything in your business in 2024. And I was like, what the heck, Lord? Like, I have all these things that you're dropping. And so there have been...
And you had momentum.
Yeah, I had so much momentum. And I was like, going. I was like, here we go. And the Lord said, no, don't build anything. Don't launch anything new in 2024. And I was like, what? Like, and he said, it like reminded me that like building, especially in this world, like in this business ownership world and content creation, like building takes a lot of energy, and it's like a certain energy you need to be in. So like creative energy is one thing, building energy is another thing. And he told me that I needed to focus all of the building energy that I had on us and on building our like foundation to launch into marriage and the first little bit of marriage. And so it was frustrating at times because I was like, I feel like I'm about to bust. And but it's been sitting in a lot of notes and post-it notes and fine-tuning in what that looks like. So yeah, we like showed up to 2025 and I was like, yeah, my pause has been released. So I'm excited. I feel like a lot of things like pent up. And so just really trying to pray and seek guidance on how that comes into the world. And so part of that is, there's a lot of things coming, but part of that is to do this series really well as we kind of walk in the series, because I think it's important. I'm all about talking about the things that nobody's talking about. So I really wish that somebody would have shared with me their story of their experience in engagement season and prepping for marriage and all that stuff. So I feel led to finish that with you and then also get into some fun Grace for the Growth.
Absolutely.
And all of that. So, and then plenty more to come.
Yeah. You never know.
Plenty more. I mean, I might have an idea, but
oh yeah,
you know, maybe.
I don't have an idea. I do have ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I'm excited for literally all of it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. It's
gonna be a good 2025. We're back.
We're back.
We're
here.
I was gonna say, I don't know if we
were ever
here.
We're here, the Alexanders.
For sure, the Alexanders. Look at us. Well, anyways, love you guys. Thank you so much for listening in and joining us for a little family meeting. We just wanted to update you, let you guys know where we're going and what the last little season has been like, and just let you know kind of the state that we're in. Where we went, we didn't ghost you. I mean, we did.
No, we did.
But we're back.
But we did it for a reason.
We did it purposefully.
We focused on each other and ourselves and our season that we were in. Mm-hmm. And I think it's encouraging, and I think it should be noted that anyone going through a similar season of engagement or extreme life change for that matter.
Oh, yeah.
Do not be afraid to take a step back from an obligation that is there, because I mean, Grace for the Growth is an obligation, especially for you.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to join you on that journey.
Yeah.
We talked about that early on, but it wasn't an obligation that if we took a step back from would have an adverse effect other than people being like, where's the next episode?
Where are you?
So we apologize for that. But please know that it was for good reason. Yeah. And it wasn't because we were upset. It wasn't because we were going through something bad. No. It was literally just, we're going to take a step. We're going to focus and shift focus to the important things. And that season of our life was a little more important than a podcast. Mm-hmm. But only in the sense of a podcast. It's not more important than what the podcast stands for.
Absolutely.
It's not more important than the people that listen or the people that are going to listen or the people that have listened. But it's just more important. That season was more important than us sitting on a couch or in a chair recording.
Yeah.
And so that was the part that had to take a step and let's just take a pause. But yeah, we're back. We're here. You're here, I should say. And I'm happy to help and jump in when you want. But I'm also excited to hear the solo and the guests and all of that stuff. So
yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a good year of content. I'm excited, and we're gonna get you another mic.
We are gonna invest something somewhere.
So we'll do that too.
I mean,
we're not just sharing a mic.
It would just depend on if we're talking more. On the platform. Why would I need another microphone?
Yeah. I mean, at least for a couple episodes. We'll see.
Yeah. Never know.
Well, thanks for joining us for Family Meeting. And glad that you guys got to watch, tune in, all of that. And we'll be back here in a couple of weeks with the continuing series of our episode. I think we're doing Engagement X. So I think so.
Which means I got to talk a lot. Because that was my shindig.
It is your star. You are the star of the show. So
great. I can do that.
Get ready.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Love you.
Thanks for listening to the Grace for the Growth podcast with Courtney and Leo. I hope that this conversation encouraged you and inspired you on your own growth journey and as you pursue a life full of authenticity and freedom. I want to encourage you to interact with us on social media at Grace for the Growth and at Courtney Y. Leo. Also, if you've got any ideas, way that these episodes have impacted you or encouraged you, I want to invite you to either DM us or email us at hello@graceforthegrowth.com. Until next time, I challenge you to embrace your story, welcome the messy, sit in the unknown, and live authentically. Bye-bye now.